Hello, welcome back to Book 2 Beginnings. Y'all, I am so excited to be doing the Jan-Uary Book Tag. If you didn't know, one of my close friends here on BookTube, Jan, made her very own book tag called the Jan-Uary Book Tag. It was just like, it's so smart, it's so fitting. It's something that you can do yearly, which I plan on doing, and I know a lot of people have already done. I'm a little behind as per usual, but it's fine, it's fine. So I have my questions here. Well, I have my answers here. I have to get my questions out because last year I was not prepared. So this year we are not looking like fools. Alright, so I have the questions here, my answers here. So if I'm like back and forth, that is why. The first question is, what was the last and first, if you remember, book you read last year? My last book that I read last year was Resting Scrooge Face, and it was okay. I gave it 3-star. Not kind of how I wanted to end the year, but it's fine. And the first book that I read last year was You've Reached Sam, and I remember talking about this in my last Jan-Uary Book Tag video that I did because, you know, it asked like, what's your first book that you're going to read for this year? Skipping ahead of myself a little bit, but this book was a 5-star book and it made me sob. I even like display it on my bookshelf because, well, one, the cover is really beautiful, but it literally made me cry. So I want people to ask me about it, and so I can say, hey, yeah, it made me cry and you need to read it. So what is your first read this year? My first read was The Midnight Library by Matt Haig, and this one, I don't know how I feel about it because on one hand I really liked it, on the other it came off a little too preachy. So it's either like a 3.75, maybe a 4, like just plain old 4. If you don't know what this is about, it's basically this girl who is trying to commit suicide, and she goes in, instead of like dying, she goes into this place that's called the Midnight Library and basically ventures into different alternate realities of herself and where she would be at, and there's like an infinite amount. So she spends a good amount of time in the Midnight Library, and I loved going through each world and seeing like, who's she gonna be in this one? Oh, but like something bad happened. Oh, so what about this one? Like, I loved going into each world. I love that whole concept. I think that's why I really liked Una Out of Order too, because I like a character figuring stuff out, is what I've realized. So I really like this, and yeah, I'm not mad that this was my first read of the year. Number 3, share 3 of your reading goals this year. Okay, I actually wrote them down. 3 of my reading goals is, well, 1, I want to read 41 books. Last year, I believe I said I was just going to set it to 1, but I ended up changing it like mid-year to 36 because last year I read 35 books. So I said, okay, I just want to beat my own self. So this year I read 40 books. I set it to 41 so this year I can read more than 40 books. My second one is read books I haven't heard of. That is the same as last year. I think I did a good job of doing that. Not as often as I would like, but I definitely have read books I've never heard of. And then the third one is read books out of my comfort zone, meaning genre, size. I'm terrified of huge books, and I'm terrified of things that I'm not used to genre wise. So I would love to get out of my comfort zone and read different type of books that I usually wouldn't read, but still sound kind of interesting to me. Okay, so number 4 is read 3 of your most anticipated titles. When I was writing these answers down, I knew nothing that came out. I always know nothing that's coming out. So I did some research this time and I wrote 4 of them. I gave you an extra bonus one. One is A Twisted Love Story by SD. Who's SD? It's not Sarah Dessen, is it? Who's SD? I gave an initial for myself and still don't know. Samantha Downing. Okay. Yes, I really want to read that. That sounded really good. The second one I want to read is How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix. Also sounded really good. A Happy Place by Emily Henry. I still need to read Book Lovers and Beach Read, but People We Meet on Vacation had me on such a high horse. And then The Only One Left by Riley Sager. Those are my anticipated titles. Wow, she actually has answers. Number 5. Which goals did you reach / not reach last year? Let's go with what I reached first. So like I said, I reached the goal of reading 36 books. I read 40. I felt like I posted more this year than I did last year. It definitely wasn't consistent at all, but I definitely posted more. So we're just, that's a goal. I did it. A goal that I didn't reach was I didn't participate in the Buzzwordathon, like barely at all. I kind of forgot about it, I'm not gonna lie to you. And another goal is I didn't stay consistent with posting, but also that's due to my huge reading slump that happens every year. I always feel weird posting videos when I'm not actively reading, but when I'm actively reading, I can pop out videos like that, you know? That's neither here nor there. Let me go to the next question. Are there new releases this year that you heard of that you have no desire to read? There was a few, but I don't ever want to say I absolutely do not want to read this book unless J.K. Rowling writes something. But other than that, I think we're good. I think we're good. Number 7. What are some reading habits you want to change this year, if any? Still with my goal of trying to read multiple books at once. I did do that when I got my Kindle for Christmas. I read 2 books at once, and it was an accomplishment finishing one and then finishing like the other in like 2 days. And I need that feeling more often, so I think having the Kindle is definitely helping me, like especially at night if I'm turning the light off but I'm still in the mood to read. Boom, Kindle. Yeah, that's definitely one. I think another one is just to read more like nonfiction, self-help type books. When I say self-help, I always feel like that's so preachy, but I also just want to get my mindset in a good place. Like if I ever feel like down, I want to grab a book that's gonna motivate me. So there's that. Number 8. Are there any adaptations you're excited about? Last year I said Daisy Jones and the Six, and it didn't come out last year, but it's coming out this year. So my answer remains Daisy Jones and the Six, but it's actually coming out in March. Wow. We have a release date and everything. I'm really excited about that actually. But last year, if I knew that the Summer I Turned Pretty series was coming out, I would have said the Summer I Turned Pretty series. By the way, side note, have y'all watched it? Because I'm obsessed. I cried. It's so good. Anyway. And 9. Favorite bookish memory of last year. Well, I have to say meeting Jan. The Jan Agaton. The Jan Agaton. Yes, I met my booktube bestie of 2 years. So she came down for Camila's birthday, and I came up to go see Camila because she lives like an hour away from me. And Jan was there, and it was just lovely, and we had like a little photo shoot time in Princeton, and we ate some yummy food and read at a coffee shop. I don't know, it was just really nice, and I love that our friendship translated outside of just booktube. So that was nice. I'm always worried about that when I'm meeting booktube people, but so far so great. None of them have been bad. Number 10, last question. Any carryovers from last year that you still plan on reading? No, I didn't have any carryovers. I finished my last book on the 31st and didn't start anything until the 1st. So we are great with that. With that being said, I think I'm finished with all the questions. If you want to do it, consider yourself tagged. I don't know who's done it already, so I'm not going to tag anybody, but literally if you're watching this and you haven't done it yet and you want to, you're tagged by me, okay? Okay. I think that's it. Swiper, you have anything to say? Okay. So, I gotta say all the YouTube things. You want to say it? Because I feel weird saying that every time. No? Okay, I'll do it. If you like this video and like me as a person, definitely hit that subscribe button. I would love to have you. We can be booktube besties. If you want to answer these questions in the comments, definitely do so. If you don't make like YouTube or booktube videos, I still want to know your answers, so answer them in the comments. I will leave the questions in the description box. And yeah, I think that's everything. So we're done. We're done. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye. Oh, we did it.